Welcome to Tech Talk with R&E Automated. I'm your host, Jordan Dieterle. Join us as we dive into the world of automation and manufacturing, bringing you expert insights from industrial professionals and business leaders. Whether you're a business owner, engineer, or simply passionate about technology, this podcast is your go-to source for the latest trends and innovations in the field. Welcome, everybody, to Tech Talk with R&E. I'm your host, Jordan Dieterle. I hope everybody's having a great Christmas time. I mean, this is an episode that we're doing pretty close to the holidays here. I'm excited for it. We have a partner here that R&E works with on a couple different projects. It's Apera AI, and I have Nick Hobbs. How you doing, Nick?
Hey, good to see you, Jordan.
Hey, I appreciate you doing this, man. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited. So I wanted to kind of give them a background or a little bit about you, to kind of get the ball rolling here for our listeners. Nick is the vice president of sales for Apera AI. He's got 14 years of experience in automation sales. He built a territory for a system integrator before that to one of the largest for the company. And he has a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering technologies from Ball State University. How's that sound for you, Nick?
It sounds good. Manufacturing engineering. I don't want to say mechanical.
Yeah. Man, I was trying to give you a one up.
It really is. But no,
I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, I missed it.
No, we're good. We're good.
Oh, perfect. Well, Nick, how about you give me some insight of who is Apera?
Yeah, kind of crazy that Apera even came around to me. So let me just take you back real quick. I used to work for an integrator for about 7 years. And in that, we get to deal a lot with 3D vision and robotic vision. And unfortunately, a lot of those went awry. Either it was cycle time issues, lighting issues, the whole gamut. Maybe it took too much as far as programming hours. So when Apera came knocking, I didn't believe this was real. They had to convince me quite a bit, and they did. So Apera is a robotic vision company that really gives eyes to the robot to be able to go and pick and place things. But it's different from others, where others are very hardware-based. We are software-based. And we also have the fastest vision cycle time in the world at 0.3 seconds. So what does that mean for the customer and the user? That means that we're picking sometimes up to 10 times and more faster than other competitors. So now when we're looking at real applications to replace what a human might do, it can actually do that with the cycles and the lighting resilience. We don't have issues with lighting. You can go lights on, lights off, flip them on and off. We actually have this working outdoors on railroads even, which is kind of neat.
Oh, that is neat.
But yeah, it attacked the whole gamut. And you mentioned AI. So our fourth dimension is AI, which in that sense, there's no programming for you to do. You send us CAD files and it trains it all completely, sends you back a full-blown vision program.
Oh, wow. Okay. What do you mean? What do you mean by CAD files? Like, can I just send you any type of CAD files? Like, can you give an explanation for the listeners of what is a CAD file, and then I guess more in depth of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you'll have a 3D file of your part, basically, that you want picked or placed. You'll send us that file. It's going to come in many different formats. STP is one of the most common ones that we find. But yeah, we can generally use any 3D format that you're able to configure here.
Okay. Does it matter of the size of the file, or is it?
It actually doesn't. There's different ways of transmitting it to us depending on size, but that's the one trick. So,
okay. What are those ways?
Yeah. So right now, the way it's done today is you go on our site through Zendesk, and you submit a form. You tell us what you're doing, what robot you're using, end of arm tooling, the part you're picking, what you're doing with the part, what type of accuracy you might need. And then you submit the file on there. If it's too large of a file, we'll send you a file share so that you can send it that way as well. That is transforming. We actually came out with what we call a Apera Forge Lab. That is giving the user the experience of simulation environment. So I can set up my entire application on a simulated environment with your exact parts, your exact bin. We can pick it all the way through the bin and give you back pickability rates. Maybe you have 3 or 4 different end of arm toolings you want to use. You can see which one works best, what clears the bin, what angle of attack might be used here. There's a lot that you can do with that technology, but in that software, you're actually able to submit that file as well. So kind of removes the middleman.
Yeah.
Say.
Yeah. It sounds like you're getting very, like you're prepping the customer, like before they even buy, or allowing them to see before they even buy. Is that kind of what you're doing?
It is exactly right. And I like to say it's like having the answers to the test before you take the test.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. Yeah, I like that because it sometimes they say when you're going to sell a system to a customer, they're like, well, how do I know this is going to work for my system? And sometimes integrators or the camera companies or software companies don't always know. They're just like, hey, this is what we're thinking is best, right?
Yes.
I mean, obviously they'll do a demo, but usually, what happens when you're in an automotive environment?
Exactly.
What's the first thing that happens?
Yeah.
Bypass.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's just me coming from personal experience. I never did that in the automotive industry.
Yeah, right. I remember on in a different lifetime, I got called in to replace some pneumatics. And we found out that someone every other shift was cutting the pneumatic line so that they would get a lunch break. So,
Oh, man.
yeah, humans definitely do interact negatively sometimes with our equipment. So,
Yeah. No, that's I mean, it's the way the manufacturing world works, right? But I mean, that's the whole point of the AI. Like, it'll catch it, and that's what I'm assuming is that my kind of the way that it's supposed to work is.
yeah, I mean, we're throwing anything into the bin or surrounding area that could affect our pick. We're actually looking at reflections and what type of surface you might have on the part. You might have a tool land inside of that. We need to know how to avoid that tool.
Yep.
There could be debris in the area. We need that in there as well. So it's pretty unique in the way that it's set up. And we've seen a lot of success with it. We're in some of the largest OEMs in the world, and we're global standard. Who, if you would have told me that 3 years ago when I started this, I probably would have laughed you out of the room. But man, has it taken off.
No, that's awesome. That's great. I mean, that's why we're partnered with you guys, right?
Exactly. It's going well.
Yeah, good. So, Nick, how about you tell me? I mean, I kind of gave a general idea, to our listeners of you overall. Tell me a little about yourself and how you, went from, a system integrator to VP of sales for Apera.
Yeah, it's interesting. I appreciate that. Ever since I got into automation solution sales, I've always I felt like my back was against the wall. I was a new guy. I was a young guy. But I knew how good I was. And I remember my very first job in automation sales. I told the president when I signed, I said, I'm going to be your best salesperson. So it may not be right now, but it's going to happen. He said, well, that's going to be hard because your boss is right next to you and you're the best. And very first year, I beat him. I never looked back, and I got into integration sales, and where I really thrived. I was found by Apera, 7 years into that piece of the career, where I came aboard and I worked as a regional sales manager, and I saw 15 states here in the Midwest. And it was kind of like being a cowboy out here. How do we derive sales with something we've not sold in the past? how do you get someone using 3D vision that otherwise probably have had bad experiences in the past from other systems? So we had to knock those walls down, and in the Midwest, we did it best. And in doing so, we found ways around the no, I would call it, right? Because like you said earlier, everyone wants to see it work. How do you get away from even that thought? And the way that we end up doing that, we allowed people to buy risk-free. That was something that I was able to come up with, and backed by our CEO. Hey, if this thing doesn't work for what we said it will, we'll return it free of cost. You're out at no hours, no work, no money. We take it on the chin. We've had 0 of those returned in that such fashion. So
that's awesome. That's a really good product then.
It is. It's one of those products that it feels too good to be true. So we just got to get it in your hands so that you actually experience that it is exactly what it says. Now it's robotic guided vision. It's hard, right? It's always hard. There's got to be some nuances. There's going to be a couple tough applications, but for the majority of things, our bread and butter is de-racking. It's bin picking. It's things that you used to have to use people for, and now we're using that. But rolling that back, I became the best salesperson here at Apera. I built the largest team here at Apera, and then they saw something in me that maybe others didn't, and they wanted me to come up with the sales strategy at Apera and lead all of Apera sales worldwide. So it's been a good journey so far, and I hope to drive this even higher year after year.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, it's kind of funny you said when you first said it. You said I'm going to be your highest selling salesperson in the company. I did the same thing.
They did.
Yeah, I did the same thing right next to my boss as well. And
awesome.
he looked at me and he's like, what? And, but I mean, I still haven't beat him in like sales volume, but yeah, I mean, he's super happy with my performance, right? I mean, he's been in it for 30 years.
Oh God.
I've been in it for 2. So, but yeah, it's a little challenging, but yeah, it's good. I'm always up for a challenge, and I think he's always looking at it as like, hey, how can I help you build your sales as well? Which that's the job of a VP of sales, right?
I think that's the sign of a good leader, is not thinking about yourself, but thinking about those that work for you. How do you make them not just work harder, but how do you actually make them thrive? We're not in this because you enjoy coming to work every day. You're in this to make money at the end of the day. How do you help your employees make money? And in the end, the company as well, right? So it sounds like you've got a good one.
Oh yeah. Tim's a great boss. Oh, yeah. he'll appreciate that call out. Yeah, he'll appreciate that call out. So I wanted you to elaborate on the development process in like the key initiatives behind like Apera's like 4D vision technology. Like, I understand it's CAD, like you're taking a CAD file, but like, what do you guys like? How do you guys find like a specific part that has, let's just say 50 holes, like, and they're all they're all the same, but is it like, do you just dial in on one hole, or how do you guys do that so that I can kind of get a better understanding of how the vision system actually works?
Yeah. So taking it back to the very start of the process, when you send us the 3D CAD file, it goes into our AI. And we have a few different neural networks that we play around with, but we basically put any type of notion into that neural network to make it fail, basically, right? And then you start to see this success build up of picks. So it's in this superficial environment, something that you may not even encounter in real life, but we need to make sure we're robust, right? We're going to be able to pick. In that, it's teaching the actual part. So I don't ever need your physical part, although sometimes that would help. I just need that 3D file, and I need to know what we're looking for. If I'm looking for the part to pick, It depends on what you're looking for. Am I picking inside of one of those holes? And let's say we are. I had an instance in my hometown, which is Kokomo, Indiana, where there was this one through hole on this piece, and you actually couldn't see it. But because our system works a lot like a person would work, I don't know if you knew this. You and I actually see 2D first, which is actually how our system works. And then the brain comprehends a third dimension based off of feel, based off of looking at it, things of that nature, right? The surface. So if I hand you a coffee mug and you can't see the actual handle, you're looking directly on at it, still know how to pick it, right?
Yep.
Exactly how our system works. So in this specific case, we couldn't see that through hole. But because we felt it in that simulated environment, we saw it, we knew everything about it, we actually could pick it, and we did so well at this. I walked in, I used this customer, I won't name them, to bring in a tier 1 automotive customer just to see it. And I walked in on their presentation to us, or to the internally. So I saw they were saving like a couple $100K a year just because they replaced the failing vision system with ours. So I said, I think I'm undercharging you guys, right?
Yeah.
But we learn it all the way through, just as you and I do. And then it comes out with that entire program, more or less. What you would do on other systems is you're looking for a feature like what you're talking about. If I'm looking for that hole, I'm specifically doing that. So for them, they had to see the part as a whole, and then they had to use another camera to see the actual through hole. And failing.
Okay. So you guys would only have to use one camera of it, and then obviously the software would run, in the background, and then it would be like, hey, I'm looking at the whole part, CAD data, and then picking it. Obviously, if the part's different, is say, like if it comes out built different, obviously the system's gonna know and say, I'm not picking.
Exactly.
So,
It'll say that there's no pickable parts or something of that nature. It's pretty neat though, because you could lay the parts down, you can kind of toss them around. As long as the gripper could get to it, we can utilize it.
Oh wow. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. I like that. I like that idea because it's it takes away a lot of the challenges when, like, for a robot programmer and a controls engineer almost, because you're like basically taking your software to do, I'd say the hard thinking for the initial setup of the system, right? I mean, that's probably the hardest part, I would say. But like once it's established, to say for the customer, they shouldn't really have to play around with it a ton to keep it running. Is that kind of
most of it is just initial setup is all that it takes, and generally either we're there or we're working with a partner R&E to go in and set this up for you. So after it's set up, the good thing and the negative thing is that the customer normally isn't touching it. So I could train them up on it, but they may forget, just as you and I forget about anything we learned yesterday. So good and bad.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they'll be calling back.
They will. That's our point. 6-7 years down the road, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So I would say, like, the primary challenges that you face with your guys' system is just the setting up of the system originally, but that's usually done by you guys or us to get it, to basically get it to, okay, hey, it's 100%, you're ready to go, and then we train the customer a little bit, and we're good to go. Is that kind of right? Or is there some other small little challenges that you kind of face here and there?
No, it's really a white glove service. That's why we partner with people such as yourselves. It helps us to have a broader band. So you guys are out there installing for some of these large OEMs, and we, for the most part, don't have to be there because you guys understand the system through and through, and it's pretty exciting when you guys could do that for us.
Yeah, it is the same. We enjoy it a lot, and I know the guys are pretty excited about it. The couple that they're doing now, they were like, yeah, we're ready to do it. And I'm like, I'm curious. I'm going to wait to see on this one.
Yeah.
They did something down here in South Carolina for us. It's kind of similar to the one you guys are going to do, or that they're going to do. And they're looking forward to it. I know I've talked to a couple of the guys that are going to support it. Like, man, this is going to be interesting.
I remember, I don't know why I just thought about this. We were at Automate 2 years ago, and I was doing a presentation there. And
Mhm.
right before me, another 3D vision system went up, and they were explaining it, and they were really highly touting an 8-second bend pick, which was the
Mhm.
fastest. I kept my mouth shut. They came out to our booth, and we were doing a 1.8-second bend pick, fastest in the world. And he came up and he said, "How fast are you guys doing that?" And we said 1.8 seconds, and his eyes went like this. He turned around and walked back away. It was it was a fun moment. That's
Oh,
how far this has come. It is so much different.
that
And
is awesome.
when you're working with those other systems outside of the programming, you're typically messing around with lighting.
Yeah.
If you ever walked in, you see the windows blacked out or the whole area doesn't have lights on.
Hmm.
It's because it is highly susceptible to lighting issues. It's highly reflective parts even.
Oh yeah.
Um, our system
I've
just
had a
doesn't.
one that had a whole black box over it.
Yep.
I
I've
was
seen
like, what is?
cardboard over people's stuff,
Yeah,
which was hilarious.
yeah. I was like, what is this black button? I'm like, we can take. No, we can't. And I'm like, why? And they're like, if you take it off, it won't pick. And I'm like,
Yeah,
really?
it is a real challenge. And I don't know what we did. They'll never tell me the secret sauce because they don't want me telling everyone here, but we figured that out.
No, that's awesome. So I guess with the 1.8 seconds pick time, that's like, the improvement of productivity and reliability that you've brought to the industry for like automotive manufacturers and medical facilities or medical device production. Is that kind of or even other types of
Yeah,
companies?
it's everywhere across the board. I told you about a railway
Yep.
maintenance crew. They have something like 40 or 50 of these things out there,
Oh, wow.
outdoors. So
That's
if you really
it's
want to talk about lighting issues, good luck figuring that one out. It
Yeah,
came,
and it probably in the rain and
yeah.
all the elements like that's yeah.
We actually had to, I'll never forget this part. That one, when we implemented it, we thought we trained it for everything. And then there was fog. And we had to go
Oh,
back and train it for fog. Like, who would
well,
think of that? This is
yeah,
made for industrial. But that's what
that's
I was
actually
saying.
funny. That actually it was actually part of my next question. Well, what does the environment do
It
for some of
changes
these?
everything. If
Yeah,
we know what it is, it's so easy. But who
yeah.
would have thought? We got to figure out the fog piece of it here.
How did you guys solve that? Like, because I
We
mean, you can't see nothing.
we had to superimpose fog into our system. So once we did that, it as long as it could barely see, because you and I can see in fog within
Hmm.
a couple feet,
Yep.
which is exactly what we were doing. We had to figure it out within a few feet. So if it
Oh,
was even more dense than that, then yeah, we couldn't see. But
yeah. That's
yeah, it was pretty
crazy.
neat.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're like it's
it's
like
everything.
like you're layering fog almost like just so you could see the part.
Yeah, it's crazy what we did there.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's really interesting. I mean, that's high tech for sure because I
yeah.
mean, nobody else is going to be able to do that. Like another camera system would have failed by now.
Ironically, they tried other systems for about 5 or 6 years.
Really?
Yeah, their mouths hit the floor when we came up, so it was fun to see.
Yeah. No, they'll be calling back.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Oh man. Can you share like some insight of like some customer feedback or regarding like the impact of AI or like the operation and the accuracy and like the cost savings for them? Or I know you kind of hit on it a little bit, but I mean, I'm kind of curious to say, if you had a one that you specifically wanted to pick out.
There's a couple. I don't know if I'm allowed to drop names, but
Yeah. I
one
mean, you
of
don't have to if you don't need to. Yeah. Like,
yeah, one of the big three told us that it was so impressive. It was very easy to get from point A to point B from start to finish. That they wanted to start putting this everywhere, and they actually globally standardized on us.
oh, wow.
Um, we had to stop and pump their brakes so we could get the standard first because
Yep.
they just wanted to keep buying.
Yep.
Um, that same company made us do deracking. We had never done deracking. This was made for bin picking, right?
Yep.
Wasn't made for railways. It wasn't made for bin picking, but we do that. That's the beauty of software, right? We can mold to whatever.
It's
That
also the beauty of
same,
adapting. Like, I mean,
yeah,
you guys are a company that is willing to adapt. And I mean, that's the way you have to survive now. I mean, you've
it
got to
is.
adapt. You have to change every 6 months, right? To say, like, what does
It
the
is.
customer need?
Well, and that's exactly what this company ended up doing is they said, hey, we sent you through this deracking. You guys are highly underselling this. Which I take offense to, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean? And they said, these things are sitting up in racks. Any other system we've ever used, if it's off by more than 5 degrees of tilt, we miss the pick or we reject the pick. He said, you could just literally throw yours out there. If we can reach it with the robot, it'll pick. And he said, you should be telling everybody about this. So we do now. But
yeah, of course.
yes.
That's good. No, that's awesome. Well, what is like the latest advancements in the AI then? With I mean, obviously that's an awesome like customer insight, but it like what is with the AI power of Apera system, like what is like the latest advancements, or do you guys? I mean, obviously you guys keep producing your product and trying to improve it. Is it just like having to continuously update the software to make it better, or is it just like depending on each application?
It's very application specific. One day I'll be picking blueberries. Another I'll be picking entire car parts. It's very specific to that. If we haven't touched it before, a lot of times we're able to do that. For instance, we've never done where we pick something up and place it into a part. We've done that very, very well to where it has a very high tune of accuracy. But we continuously innovate, and the only way that we do that is we have a number of developers where we're at home base is Vancouver. We'll have some here in the US as well. But what they're doing, all they're doing is doing these developments for those types of applications and continuously innovating our product to where we stay ahead of everybody else. The worst thing we could do is just set pat, right? And just hope that no one's ever going to catch us. People will figure it out eventually. But we want to be so far ahead that why would you ever go elsewhere? We can do all of your needs at this point. And that's what we really strive to do is we want to be your one-stop shop for that type of automation.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're that one-stop shop, I mean, they're really not going to go elsewhere. They're going to call you back because they say you guys have performed continuously for them, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely key. And to say, I mean, obviously it's a key to keep a company, going. And it sounds like you guys are going in that right direction, especially, sound from the customer insight one that you just gave us.
Yeah. And I think the wrong thing we could do is overpromise something. That's what we have to stay away from. So if we don't feel comfortable with those applications, we'll also say it. We just don't want a bad name out there. That spreads very fast.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said before, even if you guys said, "Oh, hey, we'll give you this," but if it fails,
we'll take it back.
Yeah, we'll take it back, and no charge to you. It was on us.
Exactly.
I mean, no customer can, really complain or anything when you get that type of, service.
Exactly.
They're going to call you back for something else. So, no, this is awesome. Nick, I want to kind of close it up here. I wanted to see about how can our listeners learn more about you and learn more about Apera AI? Do you want to share, email, LinkedIn, anything that they can, connect with you guys and learn more?
Yeah. First and foremost, our website, just apera.ai. That's all it is. There's no .coms or anything like that. Just type in apera.ai. You'll get a whole host of applications and videos. If you want to talk to me directly, my email is just nick.hobbs@apera-ai.com. And obviously I'm on LinkedIn. I don't know what the URL is, but
just Nick Hobbs, right? At LinkedIn.
I'm there. You can't miss the hair. I swear to you, you'll find it.
Yep. No, totally get it. Well, yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to be on Tech Talk with R&E. Again, I appreciate everybody for listening. I'm your host, Jordan Dieterle. We're signing off.